Welcome to the deep dive, where we try to cut through all that financial noise, to deliver those aha moments that genuinely matter for your future. Today, we're diving into a tool that, well, most people probably see as just a glorified checking account for doctor visits. I'm talking about the health savings account, or HSA. But what if I told you that that narrow view is causing millions of people to miss out on one of the most powerful, triple tax advantage retirement vehicles available today?
Yeah, we're peeling back the layers on HSAs. Not just for your immediate medical expenses, no. We want to reveal their secret identity as a healthcare IRA, a retirement powerhouse that, when you use it strategically, can unlock some incredible financial freedom in your golden years. It's really a game changer. It's often overlooked.
It truly is. What's often overlooked here, I think, is the profound long-term impact an HSA can have. Most people treat them as a short-term solution. They spend the balances down pretty much as quickly as they accrue.
Right, like a slush fund.
Exactly. But for those who grasp its full potential and choose to maximize its unique benefits, it transforms into something entirely different, something truly unmatched in the world of personal finance. We're going to uncover exactly why this healthcare IRA deserves, well, really a prime spot in your financial strategy.
Okay. Our mission today, then, is to show you how to leverage your HSA not just for present-day expenses, but as a critical part of your retirement planning. And it's all thanks to something we call its triple tax advantage. In fact, I've heard some of the most astute financial advisors out there are now telling their clients to prioritize HSA contributions even before maximizing their 401k match. I mean, that's a huge claim.
It is a huge claim, but there's solid reasoning behind it.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Let's get into the specifics of what makes it so uniquely compelling. Let's maybe start with the basics first, because, you can't build a financial fortress without a solid foundation. So what exactly is an HSA, and who is eligible to have one in the first place?
Okay, sure. At its core, an HSA is a savings account designed specifically for medical expenses. Simple enough, right? But it's not just any medical savings account. It's exclusively available to individuals enrolled in a high-deductible health plan, or HDHP.
Ah, okay, the HDHP link.
Yes. The idea behind this pairing is that your HDHP covers the big catastrophic events, and the HSA is there to help you cover those day-to-day out-of-pocket costs until your deductible is met. It's designed to give you a financial sort of bulletproof vest against those often unpredictable, but let's face it, inevitable medical expenses.
Got it. So it's tied to a specific type of health plan. But here's where we move beyond just seeing it as an expense account, right? The real strategic advantage comes into play when you don't immediately spend that money. Is that fair?
Precisely. That's the pivot point. Here's the game changer. If you can manage somehow to pay your current medical bills from other savings, you can then invest the money in your HSA and let it grow. For decades, potentially. This is where it truly transforms into that powerful healthcare IRA for retirement. It becomes not just a spending account, but a long-term investment vehicle.
A healthcare IRA.
Yeah.
I really like that framing. It clicks. So let's get right to the heart of what makes it so uniquely valuable. Especially when you talk about this triple tax advantage. It almost sounds, well, too good to be true. What exactly are these three tax benefits? Is there a catch?
You're right to be skeptical, because it does sound almost unbelievable. And honestly, that's probably why it's so underutilized. But the triple tax advantage is absolutely real. It's the cornerstone of an HSA's power. And it's what sets it apart from, well, every other investment or retirement account out there.
Okay, break it down for us. The three advantages.
First, your contributions are tax deductible. Or even better, they're pre-tax. It's made through payroll deduction. This means the money you put in reduces your taxable income for the year, right off the top.
Okay, immediate tax break. That's number one.
Right. If you contribute through your employer's payroll, that money never even hits your taxable income. So you get federal income tax savings and usually state income tax savings too, depending on your state.
Nice. What's number two?
Second, the money in the HSA grows completely tax-free. Any interest, dividends, or investment gains you earn, they're not taxed each year as they accrue. This tax-deferred growth lets your money compound much, much faster than it would in a regular taxable brokerage account.
Okay, tax-free growth. That's big. And the third?
And third, this is really the kicker, when you use the money for qualified medical expenses, your withdrawals are completely tax-free. Yeah. This is the holy grail, right? Tax breaks when you put money in, tax-free growth while it's invested, and tax-free withdrawals when you spend it for its intended purpose, medical costs. Think about a 401k or a traditional IRA. They give you a tax break either upfront or on the back end, but not both.
Right, you pay eventually.
Exactly. And HSA gives you tax breaks now, later, and in between on the growth. That's the powerful trifecta. No other account does that.
So it's not just a hat trick of tax benefits. It really is like winning the financial lottery 3 times over on the same dollar. And this triple advantage is truly unmatched. Okay, that's a fundamental point we need to keep in mind. Now, that advantage is compelling on its own, but let's shift focus a bit. How does this play out specifically in retirement? We know healthcare is, it's often one of the biggest anxieties retirees face. So how does an HSA's flexibility evolve? And why is having this dedicated tax-free pool of money for health cost so incredibly helpful once you hit age 65?
Right, that leads us naturally to the big what-if scenario. What happens to all this money if you're lucky you manage to avoid major medical expenses for decades? Well, after age 65, an HSA's flexibility really extends quite a bit. You can withdraw funds for any purpose without that typical 20% penalty that applies before age 65.
Any purpose at all.
Any purpose. Now, if those withdrawals aren't for qualified medical expenses, they're simply subject to ordinary income tax, just like a traditional IRA or 401k withdrawal. So at 65, it essentially can transform into another traditional IRA. But, and this is an important distinction, it doesn't have required minimum distributions or RMDs.
No RMDs.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So the government isn't forcing you to take money out and pay taxes on it if you don't need it.
Exactly. That's a nice little bonus. But here's the crucial part, the real power for retirees. If you do continue to use the funds for qualified medical costs, even after 65 in retirement, there's still no tax at all. Zero. Tax-free withdrawals for health expenses forever.
Okay, so after 65, it becomes incredibly versatile. Either a tax-free health fund or a regular taxable income stream, but without the RMD pressure. You mentioned a staggering statistic earlier about potential healthcare costs for retirees. It really does hit home. We're not just talking minor stuff. We're potentially talking hundreds of thousands of dollars over a retirement lifetime.
We are.
Does having this dedicated tax-free pool actually change the game in a meaningful way beyond just, saving a bit on taxes?
Oh, it absolutely changes the game. Healthcare is not just a significant expense. It's often the most unpredictable and potentially the largest discretionary expense for retirees. I saw a recent study, I think it suggested a 65-year-old couple today might need upwards of maybe $300,000, maybe more, for out-of-pocket healthcare costs over their retirement. And that often doesn't even fully account for potential long-term care needs.
Wow, that's sobering.
It is. Now imagine having a dedicated, completely tax-free fund sitting there waiting for exactly that purpose. This isn't just theoretical. The odds are you will have significant health needs as you age, and the range of qualified expenses is pretty broad. It covers Medicare premiums, Part B and D, sometimes Advantage Plan premiums, which can be substantial, doctor visits, prescriptions, dental, vision. Even certain long-term care insurance premiums can qualify.
So it covers a lot of the big stuff.
It does. And having this dedicated tax-free resource removes immense pressure from your other retirement funds like your 401k or IRA. It allows those funds to stretch further for your lifestyle expenses, travel, hobbies, whatever, knowing your health needs are covered by this separate tax advantage pool. It's a strategic move that significantly de-risks your whole retirement plan.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. With that solid foundation on why HSAs are so powerful, let's zoom in on the how. How do we actually build up this healthcare IRA effectively? What are the contribution limits we need to know? And what's the smartest strategy for maximizing its growth potential over the long haul?
Right. Building this healthcare IRA requires a clear strategy. Let's start with the limits. Contribution limits are set annually by the IRS, and they usually go up a bit each year with inflation. For 2025, if you have individual HDHP coverage, you can contribute up to $4,300.
Okay.
If you have family HDHP coverage, that limit jumps significantly, up to $8,550 for 2025.
Big difference for families.
It is. And there's more. For those 55 or older, there's an additional catch-up contribution allowed an extra $1,000 per year.
The catch-up, right, like with IRAs and 401k.
Exactly. Now, one important note. Any employer contributions you might receive, like if your company puts money into your HSA for you, those count toward these same annual limits, so you need to factor those in.
Good point. Don't over-contribute accidentally. So hitting those limits consistently is step one. But what's the power user move here? What's the key strategy for our listener to really supercharge their HSA for retirement beyond just, putting the money in?
Okay. The key strategy, and this is honestly where most people miss the boat, is really twofold. First, max it out if you can possibly afford to, every year. Second, and this is crucial, invest those funds for growth. Don't just let it sit in cash. And then try really hard not to spend it before retirement.
Invest it, don't spend it.
That's the mantra. Unlike a flexible spending account, an FSA, where you have that use it or lose it rule each year.
Right, the year-end scramble.
Exactly. HSA funds roll over indefinitely. There's no deadline. That money is yours forever, which is critical for long-term growth. And most HSA providers nowadays offer investment options. They allow you to put your money into stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs. Usually once you reach a certain minimum cash balance, maybe $1,000, sometimes less.
So treat it like a brokerage account within the HSA.
Precisely. The real magic, the serious wealth building, happens when you let that money compound over decades, completely tax-free. And to make that happen, the strategy is often to cover your smaller, current medical bills out of pocket, using your regular checking account or other savings, allowing your HSA balance to stay invested and grow untouched.
That's a huge shift in mindset, isn't it?
Well,
Instead of seeing it as your go-to debit card for prescriptions or copays, you're treating it like a serious long-term investment account. I've even heard of people doing something interesting, like saving receipts for current medical expenses they paid out of pocket, and then choosing to reimburse themselves years later, maybe even in retirement, from the HSA. Is that really a viable strategy?
it absolutely is, and it's a brilliant move for, let's call them advanced HSA users. It takes discipline, but it's powerful. See, there's no time limit set by the IRS on when you have to reimburse yourself for a qualified medical expense.
No time limit at all.
Nope. As long as the expense occurred after your HSA was officially opened and funded, you can reimburse yourself anytime. This year, next year, 10 years from now, even 30 years from now in retirement.
Wow. So you pay the doctor today with your credit card, save the receipt.
Let the equivalent amount of money in your HSA stay invested and grow tax-free for decades.
And then in retirement, when maybe you need cash, you pay yourself back for that 30-year-old doctor visit using the receipt and pull out the original amount, plus all the tax-free growth associated with it.
Well, not quite the growth. You reimburse the original expense amount tax-free, but by leaving that money invested longer, the overall HSA balance grows much larger thanks to the compounding on that unreimbursed amount.
Ah, okay. You reimburse the original cost, but the money stayed invested longer, boosting the whole pot.
Exactly. You're essentially giving yourself an interest-free loan from your future self, paid back from tax-free funds, while maximizing the compounding potential. It's truly leveraging the system to its absolute fullest. You just need good record keeping.
That comparison you made about after-tax spending power really resonates. It makes you think, gosh, if I'd truly understood this earlier in my career, how dramatically different my retirement planning, or at least the healthcare funding part, might have looked. It's a wake-up call, but also, like you said, a huge opportunity, right?
Can you give us maybe a concrete example just to illustrate how powerful that tax-free growth can really be?
Absolutely. Let's paint a clear picture. Keep it simple. Suppose you're 35 years old, you contribute just $1,000 to your HSA this year, and you invest it, let's say you expect a pretty conservative 7% average annual growth rate over the long term.
Okay, 7% average return.
By the time you reach age 65, so 30 years later, that single $1,000 contribution could grow to about $7,600.
From $1,000 to over $7,600. Right. Now, if you do this consistently year after year, contributing the max, especially if you have family coverage, and assuming those limits increase gradually, you could easily accumulate hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's very achievable. But let's stick with that single $1,000 example. If you use that $7,612 for qualified medical expenses in retirement, Medicare premiums, prescriptions, whatever you withdraw, and spend that entire amount completely tax-free.
The full $7,612.
The full amount. Now let's compare. If you had invested that same initial $1,000 in a traditional IRA or 401k, assuming the same 7% growth, it would also grow to $7,612 by age 65.
Okay, same growth.
But upon withdrawal in retirement, you'd owe income taxes on that entire amount, assuming, let's say, a modest 22% federal tax bracket in retirement.
You'd lose over $1,600 to taxes.
Exactly. You'd only be left with about $5,937 after taxes to spend. The HSA clearly provides significantly more after-tax spending power, specifically for healthcare needs. It's like having an IRA that you literally never pay taxes on, provided you use it for health needs eventually. It's a truly unique financial advantage in the U.S. system.
That growth potential is incredibly compelling. It really makes the healthcare IRA concept hit home. So as you, our listener, consider incorporating an HSA more strategically into your financial plan, What are the crucial rules, maybe some caveats or potential pitfalls we need to keep in mind? We want to make sure we're maximizing the benefits and avoiding any unpleasant surprises down the road.
Yeah, that brings up some critical practicalities, rules you absolutely need to know. The number one rule, the entry ticket, basically. To open or contribute to an HSA, you must be enrolled in a qualified high-deductible health plan, an HDHP. And importantly, you generally can't be covered by any other disqualifying health coverage like traditional Medicare or sometimes even a spouse's non-HDHP plan or an FSA.
Okay, so HDHP enrollment is key. And watch out for other coverage. What about Medicare?
Big one. Once you enroll in Medicare, any part of it, even just Part A, you can no longer contribute new money to an HSA.
So contributions stop at Medicare enrollment.
Correct. This doesn't mean you lose your existing HSA balance, though. That money is still yours. If you leave an HDHP or you retire before enrolling in Medicare, you can still keep your existing HSA account. You can let the funds stay invested, and you can absolutely spend them completely tax-free for medical expenses whenever you need to. You just can't add new contributions unless you happen to re-enroll in a qualified HDHP later, which is less common after retirement.
Okay, that's clear. Contributions stop, but the account and its tax benefits live on. What else?
Another key rule, and one you really want to watch out for, is the penalty for non-medical withdrawals before you turn 65. If you take money out for anything other than a qualified medical expense before that age, there's a hefty 20% penalty. Ouch.
20% plus income tax.
Exactly. 20% penalty on top of the withdrawn amount being subject to ordinary income tax. So yeah, it's really designed and penalized to discourage using it as a regular savings account before retirement age.
Makes sense. Treat it as a healthcare fund pre-65.
Right. But after 65, as we mentioned earlier, that 20% penalty disappears. Non-medical withdrawals are just taxed as ordinary income, no penalty. That's when it gains that IRA-like flexibility. However, again, to truly capitalize on the unique triple tax advantage, the ultimate play is always reserving it primarily for those inevitable medical needs post-65, keeping those withdrawals tax-free.
Beyond just the IRS rules, what about the practical side? Choosing an HSA provider, managing the investments. Are there common mistakes people make when they try to leverage this for retirement but maybe stumble?
Oh, absolutely. Common mistakes happen. One big one is simply not selecting an HSA provider that actually allows for investment or offers good investment options. Many default providers, especially maybe the ones chosen automatically by employers, might only offer a basic savings account with, pitifully low interest rates. That's not going to grow much.
So you might need to shop around.
You absolutely should shop around. You need to actively seek out an HSA administrator or custodian that offers a robust investment platform. Look for access to a good range of low-cost mutual funds or ETFs, similar to what you'd find in a good 401k or IRA brokerage account, and check the fees. Account maintenance fees, investment fees, those can really eat into your long-term growth, so find a provider with low, transparent fees.
Good advice. Look beyond the default. What else?
Another pitfall is kind of behavioral. It's using the HSA too readily for small, immediate expenses when you actually have other cash flow available. Like we discussed, if you can comfortably cover that $50 copay or that $20 prescription from your regular checking account, try to do it. Let that $50 or $20 stay invested and working for you inside the HSA.
Discipline again.
It really is. It's a simple shift in behavior thinking, long-term investment first, short-term expense account second, that can have a massive compounding effect over decades. Oh, and also, just practically, don't forget that employer contributions count towards your annual limit. Always track those so you don't accidentally overcontribute and face potential penalties or hassles.
Right. Okay. It sounds like a remarkably powerful tool, maybe one of the best out there, but it's often misunderstood or underutilized. Bringing it back to that claim from the start, why do so many sharp financial experts now value HSA contributions so highly? Often even putting it ahead of maximizing a 401k beyond just getting the employer match. Yeah. What's the broader takeaway here for you, the listener?
They value it so highly precisely because of that unique, unparalleled triple tax benefit, combined with the near certainty of significant future healthcare costs. It's a perfect match, really. For many financial advisors, prioritizing HSA contributions has become a core recommendation. Often the pecking order goes, first, contribute enough to your 401k to get the full employer match, because that's free money. You never turn down free money.
Please take the match.
Always. But after securing the match, the HSA is very often the next dollar priority, precisely because no other account offers those tax advantages across contributions, growth, and withdrawals for an expense category healthcare that is virtually guaranteed and often substantial.
So match first, then maybe HSA, then maybe back to the 401k or other goals.
That's a very common and sound strategy. In summary, an HSA can, and arguably should, serve as an absolutely vital supplemental retirement account. It's specifically earmarked for healthcare. By consistently maxing out those contributions when you can, and intelligently investing the funds for the long term, you build potentially a massive fund that can pay for your medical costs in retirement completely tax-free. This takes significant financial pressure off your other retirement income sources, your 401k withdrawals, maybe Social Security, pensions if you have one, allowing those funds to better support your desired lifestyle. So maybe think of your HSA in two parts. A small portion in cash as a midterm safety net for near-term deductibles or expenses if needed, and the rest, the bulk of it, as a long-term investment engine. Invested aggressively for the long haul. It is, quite simply, one of the most efficient and strategic ways available to save for the inevitability of healthcare costs as we age.
So there you have it. Our deep dive into health savings accounts reveals, pretty clearly I think, that they're far more than just a simple way to pay for today's medical bills. They are unique, triple tax-advantaged powerhouse. A true healthcare IRA, as we've been calling it, designed to give you profound financial peace of mind in retirement by specifically tackling those inevitable healthcare costs with unmatched tax efficiency. It really feels like an opportunity that's too significant to ignore if you're eligible.
It really is. And maybe this raises an important question for you, the listener, to consider now. Given these powerful tax advantages we've discussed, given the certainty of future healthcare costs, and given the remarkable flexibility this account offers, especially after age 65, how might prioritizing your HSA contributions, really treating it as a primary retirement savings vehicle, not just reshape your overall retirement security, but actually allow your other retirement funds to stretch further, maybe provide a richer, less anxious future? It's definitely a question worth actively exploring for your own financial journey.
Absolutely. We hope this deep dive has given you some valuable insights, maybe spark some new thinking about your financial future. We definitely encourage you to explore this further, maybe talk with your own financial advisor, and see how an HSA can fit strategically into your own long-term plan. It really could transform a simple health account into a retirement game changer.